Welcome to our media channel. Here we try to share wisdom in detail, in depth. If you feel some of the discussions to be inaccessible or unfamiliar, we invite you to go over to the Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll find much more universal wisdom. We also invite you to join our Wisdom That Breeds community, where we're gathering individuals who want to make the world a more beautiful place by sharing wisdom.
Hare Krishna. So all of our scriptures are in the form of questions and answers. So there's always many questions that we may have about spiritual life, about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So sometimes on evenings like this, we give you an opportunity just to ask your questions. So this evening is one such evening when we'll have the opportunity for some of you to ask your questions. So if you have questions in your mind, you can think of them. I think we already have some questions. Planted questions. So we'll begin with those and then we'll see. Yeah. So Achyuta Prabhu will take us through the evening.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for coming. So as Maharaj said, we'll go through those devotees who kind of given their names. But then anyone who has actually further questions, you can always kind of think about it, and then maybe as we progress, you can ask, provided time as well. Is that okay, Maharaj? Yeah. So I'm going to give the first question request to Pinky Mataji. So I think if you can give the, so we'll start with ladies first. So I think it's nice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. My pranams to you.
My question is, how do we develop and practice compassion and humility with someone that has an opposing view with regards to bhakti or Krishna consciousness without actually being a fanatic?
Oh, sorry, I missed the last bit. To someone who is?
Someone who has an opposing view, has a different
view.
opinion about, say, bhakti or Krishna consciousness. How do we develop and practice compassion?
Okay, yes. So perhaps some of you in your lives, you have people in your life who are not so, let's say, enthusiastic about you being a Hare Krishna. Once my mom, she came to me and it was very sweet. She said, "Can't you just be normal?" I said, "Mom, it's too late." I became a Hare Krishna. So maybe there are people in your family, people in your friends who liked you more the way you were before. And maybe now, since you've become a Hare Krishna, they're kind of not so favorable, they're not so kind, they're not so polite. And how do you maintain a mood of compassion and humility towards people who are sometimes opposing your views? Put your hand up if sometimes you have a problem with this. Yeah, some of you have issues with people like that. The first thing to realize is that there was a point in our life where we were also like that. It's not that we came out of the womb with a tilak. We came out of the womb, like chanting 16 rounds. We also, maybe in our life at some point, were thinking, I don't know about those Hare Krishnas, they're okay, they're nice, but a little strange. So the first thing we can realize is that at one point we also may have had the same reservations. Maybe we also were a little bit like that as well. But we changed, we improved, we became Hare Krishnas. Maybe they could also, you never know, stranger things have happened. So the first thing to realize is that anyone can change, anyone can evolve. That is the reality of life. When I joined the temple, then what happened is a delegation from my family of about 15 members came to give me a good lecture on why I was messing up my life. And the interesting thing is that about 80% of them nowadays, that delegation of individuals, about 10 or 12 of them now come regularly to ask me for advice. So people change. People kind of after some time they get it. So be patient. The second thing I would say is that try to hear the unheard. Hear the unheard? What do you mean? Once, a husband and wife were having an argument. Now and again it happens. So the husband, he went to the minister and he said, I just don't understand my wife. So the minister said, I want you to go back and listen to everything she's saying. So he went back and he listened now. He was listening very carefully. He came back to the minister, he said, I'm even more confused now. I really don't understand her. And the minister said, very good. He said, now I want you to go back and listen to everything she's not saying. And he said, what do you mean? How can you listen to something that someone's not saying? He says, I want you to listen to her heart. I want you to listen to her mind. I want you to listen to all the feelings that she has that she's not expressing to you. I want you to try to see the hidden story behind what is making her act like the way she is. So he went back and he tried to hear the unheard. He came back to the minister, he said, now I understand her. So sometimes when someone is very negative or very aggressive towards you, we tend to react to their behavior. But if we took the time to understand what is the hidden story behind it, then we might understand that actually they're not that bad. You know, a lot of the time why your family and friends don't like you being a Hare Krishna, it's not so much because they have an issue with the Hare Krishnas. It's just that they think you're changing and I won't be able to have the same relationship with you. And so it comes out like, why are you doing all this rubbish? Why are you going there? You know. But actually they don't have a problem with it. They just want you to be like you are. Does that make sense? So whenever someone is having an opposing view, try to hear the unheard, what they're not saying to you. That's another golden tip. And then the final thing I would say is that humility and compassion is really humility and compassion when it's given to someone who is provoking you. To be compassionate and humble towards the person who's being super nice to you, well, come on, I mean, what's so great about that? But when you can be compassionate and humble towards someone who's basically irritating and annoying and provoking and getting on your nerves, and you're still compassionate, you're still humble, then Krishna sees, oh wow. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says, one's greatness can be measured by their ability to tolerate provoking situations. So you want to know how great someone is? Just see how much tolerance they have when someone provokes them. Immediately you understand how great someone is. So when there are people provoking you in your life, basically there are some people in this world who are just meant to be there to provoke you. Can you think of someone in your mind? Yeah. Don't throw darts at them in your mind. But there are just sometimes it will be like that. But they're giving you an opportunity to bring out your greatness. If you want to develop your inner muscles of saintly qualities, there must be some resistance. So it's a good thing. It's good that there's a few people in your life who provoke you, because then it forces you to go deeper. And that's very good. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tori?
Hi, working? Hi Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, I didn't write down my question, but I'm curious about in Bhakti Yoga or in Krishna consciousness, if there is non-duality, because we normally we always have God or we have Krishna, right? That really helps me to put my ego down because I'm really humble towards it. But I'm curious about the non-duality where you can become, I'm talking about
Oneness, merging, oneness.
Yes, oneness, exactly. I'm just curious about your opinion about it, because we always, we have Krishna in front, we have Krishna in go and to worship, but is that in that non-duality, that space, and if you have something to say
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So, is the ultimate spiritual perfection a oneness where there's no duality, where everything is unified, everything is integrated, everything is merged, and therefore there's no there's no two objects? Is that the goal? Well, the spiritual teachers explain what the goal of life is. The goal of life is to experience love. What is life without love? Isn't it? Now, all the songs that people are singing, they're all about love. But most of the time they are about frustrated love. Just like now is Christmas time, and whenever I go on the street, there's always that song. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, frustrated love. But we all seek to experience love. When I became a monk, I was like, I'm done with love. I'm going to be a monk. And then I realized even the monks are looking for love. But the ultimate type of love we're looking for is divine love. Love for the Supreme Person. And in order for there to be love, there has to be relationship. And in order for there to be relationship, there needs to be individuality. Because when there is individuality, then we can express, we can serve, we can sacrifice, we can contribute, we can interact. And so what the Bhagavad Gita explains is that the ultimate spiritual reality is not a oneness of energy, but ultimately the ultimate spiritual reality is an exchange of love between pure living beings. Basically, the Bhagavad Gita explains that this world is a reflection of the real world. And so everything you find here, you find in the spiritual world in its original form. So just like here we have families, here we have society, here we have relationships. In the spiritual world there is also community, there's family, there's relationships. But there in the spiritual world, all the relationships are pure. And in that pure exchange, we experience the highest type of love. If we were to all become one, if we were to all merge into one energy, then there would be no opportunity to exchange and experience love. And therefore, the spiritual teachers actually say the idea of oneness is actually spiritual suicide. Because by annihilating your identity, you're cheating yourself of the most cherished aspiration, which is to give and receive love. And so there is individuality in the ultimate spiritual realm. It's a place of love. And therefore Krishna says to Arjuna on the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So Krishna says, you're eternal, I'm eternal, and we all have eternal relationships. And but the reason we look for oneness, the reason why we look to annihilate our identity, is because we were let down in the world. Because we saw in the world that all this duality, this country and that country, this race and that race, this gender and that gender, all this duality just causes conflict. And therefore we feel, let's get rid of all duality and just be one. But there's a pure form of all of those things, and that is in the spiritual world. So, yes, ultimately the spiritual world is a place where there is individuality. Does that help?
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nico.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question. Like Bhagavad Gita fundamental teaching is that we are souls and not the bodies. How do we understand this divine knowledge and relate it to our experience? Because we always relate to people by their body and through the senses. Like for example, we were all like eagerly waiting to see you, and we'll only get pleasure by your physical presence. So how do we understand this? Thank you.
When we relate to each other as spiritual beings, it doesn't mean we stop seeing the body. You see, like even a self-realized soul, when he sees like a lion, it's not that he just sees a spirit soul. Because if he just did see a spirit soul, he may be pretty finito quite quickly. He has to still understand, no, this is a lion. You know, like, I will pay my respects from a distance. And therefore, when we are, it's like, when we are seeing someone as a spiritual being, we still relate to them according to the body that they're in right now. But we don't identify them as that body. Does that make sense? So, for example, it's not that now you're self-realized, it doesn't matter whether it's your son or daughter or someone else's son or daughter, you see them all equally. No, you have a special love for your children, you have a connection with them. But you don't just see them as your children, you see them as spiritual beings who have been sent to you by Krishna for you to help them in this chapter of their existence. So in that way you can see someone's material body, relate to them appropriately, and at the same time see them as a spiritual being. Does that make sense? And so naturally, when we are, even with spiritual personalities, yes, we know they're not their body, we know they're a spiritual being, but when we see them in their material body, when they're present before us, that brings a joy. And naturally, when they disappear and we can't see them and we can't speak to them, naturally that brings a disappointment. But it doesn't mean that we're relating to them as bodies, but we're relating to them personally. And so it's okay to have different emotions. Even Srila Prabhupada said, when my spiritual master passed away, I also cried. He said, why? For the soul there is neither birth nor death. No, but we have this relationship, see? So when you're Krishna conscious and you have spiritual vision, it doesn't mean you just become like, I don't know, like live with your head in the clouds, you know. No, you have practical dealings. Does that make sense? Thank you. Nice question. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, no worries.
Hare Krishna. My question
Closer.
with respect to material life and spiritual life. The work what we do in the material life, we want to be in line with the spiritual life. That's my first question. And
What's the question? You want it to be your material life to be in line with your spiritual life. So what's the question?
Whatever work I do in material life,
Yeah.
so it has to be in line with the spiritual life as well. Now material life, if we take, it's all materialistic and some of them are spiritual, but most of the work what we do, it gets suppressed as a material substance.
So let's answer that first. All of you in this room, most of you have a job.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's Friday. Because everyone's like, yes, yes. So how do you make your work into worship? How do you connect your job to Krishna? Right? That's your question basically, because it all seems very material. First thing is, from your job you get certain results, isn't it? What are the results that you get from your job? You get money. You get some money. What other results do you get from your job?
Satisfaction.
Okay, satisfaction, but on a practical level, for example, you get some skills. You get knowledge. You get some position, influence. So now, can you use all of these things for Krishna? Can you use your money for Krishna? No?
Yes.
If you say no, me and you need to speak. Once a priest, he came in front of the congregation and he said, we have to build a new church. It costs $1 million. There's good news and bad news. The good news is the $1 million is there. The bad news is it's still in your pocket. So we can use our money for Krishna. You can help the Krishna consciousness movement. You can buy something for Krishna. You can serve Krishna's devotees with your Lakshmi, like by using that. So, right? Can you use your skills that you learn at work for Krishna? Yeah. Right? You learn certain skills if you're an accountant, or if you're an engineer, or if you're an artist. You use that for Krishna. You get certain influence at work. Can you use that for Krishna? Yeah, you can. You know, if you're the boss and everyone listens to you, because you can, say, today I'm going to give everyone a Christmas present and give them a book on Krishna. Then you use your influence to basically bring spirituality, bring Krishna into the equation. Basically, there is no part of your life that you can't bring Krishna into. And if anyone in this room wants to give me a part of your life that you can't bring Krishna into, I'm very open to hearing it. And I'm sure we'll be able to bring Krishna in. You bring Krishna into your eating. You bring Krishna into your sleeping. You know how you bring Krishna into your sleeping, right?
No.
No? You don't know how to bring Krishna into your sleeping? You dream about Krishna. You can bring Krishna into your holidays. You can bring Krishna into your family. You can bring Krishna into work. You can bring Krishna anywhere. Anywhere plus Krishna equals Vrindavan. You can bring Krishna anywhere. So we just have to be a little broad-minded. We have to be a little bit ingenious. We have to know the art of making the connection. And then everything can become a devotional service. It's not that you're just doing devotional service when you come here on a Friday evening. No, every day, throughout the day, can be devotional service if you learn the art. Does it make sense? Therefore, use all of your material things for Krishna.
Thank you. Naresh?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Swamiji, thank you very much for your presence today. I've got very basic questions really. I was going to ask you about the modes of nature, our three modes of nature, and how our karmic attachments remain with them even in the modes of goodness. How do we progress from simple terms to more attachment and the awareness of consciousness and a better connection with Krishna? Thank you.
So there are three modes of functioning in this world: in ignorance, in passion, or in goodness. And Prabhu is saying, even in goodness, you're still not free from the material world. You're still here, and you're still going to get reactions for that. So how do you go from sattva to Shuddha sattva, or transcendence? Basically, it's that same point. Just add Krishna. So if you're eating food in the mode of goodness, that's very good. But then start offering it to Krishna. If you're listening to music which is in the mode of goodness, that's very good. But now can you listen to kirtan and add Krishna's name to it? And then maybe it becomes transcendence. Your family life is very, very nice. It's very sattvic. It's very clean. It's very done according to nice culture. But can you bring Krishna into it? Then it becomes transcendence. So the moment you bring Krishna into the equation, it becomes something beyond the material world. But no matter how clean it is, if Krishna isn't present, it's still in the material world. And therefore, even those in goodness, it's not enough. They still remain in the material world. Goodness is like an airport.
Sorry, what did you say?
An airport.
Airport.
Goodness is basically an airport. If you want to go from London to New York, first you have to go to Heathrow. But if you hang around in the duty free, buying all the cheap stuff, and you miss your flight, you may be at the airport, but you're no closer to the destination. But at the same time, you need to come to the airport first. So goodness is like the airport, but then you need to catch the plane. And catching the plane means you need to add Krishna into the equation. Otherwise, still material. Make sense? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, my question is when we are engaged in the material things, or because of our opulences with the material, like with our positions or with our duties, when we get engaged, and in that case we are missing a Krishna or our bhakti. So I want to understand how to balance these things, when we come to the devotee association or with in the sangha or something like that.
Then you feel spiritual.
But when we are out, so we are like
when you are out in the world out there, you then take on that material identity. You forget. So how do we deal with that? Yeah. When we are in certain situations, sometimes it just brings out our material identity, isn't it? Like we used to have one very, very saintly brahmachari. But the moment he got into the driver's seat of a car, I mean, the seat went back, the hand went up, and he was like a different person, you know. Somehow the car seat did that to him, you know. So sometimes when you're in all these situations, it brings out your material identity, isn't it? Therefore, there's one very, very important thing that everyone has to do every single day. And you know what that is, right? You need to rise before the sun. You need to wake up early. Before you engage with the world, before you go into the office, before you open your email, before you turn on your WhatsApp, before you engage with any identity of this world, spend 1 or 2 hours remembering, I am a spirit soul, an eternal servant of Krishna, and my life is meant for devotional service. And when you start with the first identity, then when you go out into the world, you realize, now I'm going to act on the stage. But if you don't know who you are before you go and act on the stage, you might find you end up becoming the actor. Do you know sometimes Bollywood actors, they have to prepare for 2 months before to get into the character, and then they do all of this filming in that character. And you know what sometimes happens? Is that once the film and everything is over, they can't escape that character. They become that character because it's become them now. So that's what happens. So therefore, if you don't wake up in the morning, if you don't spend the first hours of the day with Krishna, it's going to be very difficult to remember your spiritual identity when you're out there in the world. It's a mad world out there. I was just in Nottingham city centre. I saw. It's a mad world out there. So much influence, so many messages, so many advertisements, so much material illusion, so much maya. How you will be able to overcome maya? Devi hiya shagunamai, mama maya duratyaya. Very difficult. But what does Krishna say? Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti de. But if you come to me, then you can cross it. Therefore you have to begin the day by coming to Krishna. Once I was in Varshana. You know Varshana? Radharani's place. Srimati Radharani's place. So there was one 90-year-old lady. So you know what she said? She said, my mom, she taught me to do something from when I was 5 years old, and for the last 85 years I do that thing. And you know what it was? She said, my mom told me, in the morning when you wake up and your eyes open, then immediately close your eyes. And then what you should do is, with your eyes closed, you have to come off the bed. And when you come off the bed, you have to feel the wall. And then you have to go to the door with your eyes closed. And with your eyes closed, you go through the door and walk down the stairs. And with your eyes closed, you open the door, and then you come into the front room. And then with your eyes closed, you come in front of the altar. And then what you do is you open the curtains and then you open your eyes. My mom told me, she said, the first person you should see in the day is Krishna. And she said, I did that. I mean, don't try this at home. You might get a broken leg or something. But that was very nice, I thought. Yes, so nice. To start the day by seeing Krishna. To start the day by being with Krishna. So who is doing that? Then you'll realize, what does Shakespeare say? All the world's a stage, and every person simply an actor. It's just a role, just an identity. The Bhagavatam says this world is a river of names, so many names. What's in a name? Just a name. Like I grew up as Sandeep, that was my name. And then I joined the ashram and they called me Bhakta Sandeep. And then later on I got initiated and my name was Sutapadas. And nowadays they call me a Swami. Oh, just names, ultimately. Okay, spiritual names, very nice. But different identities, different roles behind all of it. Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Veda Veda Prakash. Just the servant of Krishna. So, the 5 a.m. club. The choice is yours. When the alarm clock goes off, maybe that will determine the quality of your spiritual life. One devotee said to me, you want to know the distance between the material world and the spiritual world? I said, you can tell me the distance? He said, yeah, it's simple. The distance between the material world and the spiritual world is equal to the distance between your sleeping bag and the shower when the alarm clock goes off. If you can make that journey, you can make that journey. When the alarm clock goes off, get up, dress up, and show up. This is the most important work in the world. Sorry, that was the military talk for today. That was a bit dramatic. It's like that though. It has to be a little military. If you really want to find Krishna, you have to put some special effort. And the morning time requires a little special effort. Because most people, it takes something to get the engine going in the morning. Need a push start. Duck start. So there you go. Make sense?
We got Mukunda, he's 11.
Yeah.
11.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance.
My pranams to you.
My question today is that Lord Krishna's the Supreme Lord. However, he creates like bad personalities, like Putna. Why does he do that?
Wow, that's a good question. Amazing. Thank you. So Krishna is the Supreme Person. Why does he create demigods? Oh, sorry. Demons. Krishna creates all living entities, and then Krishna gives everyone free will. You understand what free will means?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It's basically where you have the choice to decide what you
Top
want.
man, I underestimated you. Thank you very much. Clearly, you're a philosopher. Yes, it means that everyone has a choice. And so Krishna gives everyone a choice. And so Krishna doesn't make anyone in any way. If they use their choices in the wrong way, then they become demons. Sometimes we also become a little bit demoniac. Do you think so? If we make the wrong decisions, do you find that if we make the wrong decisions, we end up doing pretty bad things? Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? So, like say for example, someone gets drunk. Sometimes in Nottingham you may see a drunk person. Maybe. Now and again it happens. So now imagine there's a drunk person and he does something really bad. And then the police come to that person and he says, no, it's not me, it's the drink. Because without the drink I wouldn't have been like this. Therefore you should arrest the drink, not me. Yes, but you took the drink. You decided to take that drink. And therefore you became drunk. And then you did all these bad things. So the demons are like that. They have the free will. But then they use their free will in the wrong way. So you have to know how to use your free will in the right way. Yeah? What time are you going to get up? 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock? Remember, you don't want to become a demon. Which one? At least he's honest. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Because you're so honest, I won't put you under any more pressure. These are all the choices. Yes. Everyone is making choices every day. What are you doing behind the door when nobody's looking? Then it's a choice. And that choice will determine your character. So everything, every decision. Hare Krishna, thank you. Good question, thank you. Smart. Should we open it up for anyone? Oh, Prabhu, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Well, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. I've got a question. In the scriptures like the Bhagavatam, we read about exalted devotees. So in this age, how can we qualify a relationship with Krishna in Sakhya Vatsalya Rasas, as we don't have the time for performing the austerities that devotees like Nanda Maharaj did in their previous lives?
How will we ever get there to Vrindavan, to play with Krishna, to wrestle with Krishna, to have such a beautiful time with Krishna, because we're just struggling here, we have no time. Just about paying the bills. The first thing to understand, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Sudachite Kadaye Yudoi. You already have it. You already have love for Krishna. You already have a relationship with Krishna. You already have a spiritual form. Sadhya Kabunoi is not something that you have to get. It's already there. One Srila Prabhupada, he looked out at all the devotees and he said, if you knew who the person sitting next to you is in the spiritual world, you'd faint. We're looking around thinking, oh God. Maybe in the next life. No, everyone already has a spiritual form. Everyone has a role. Everyone has love for Krishna. Now we just have to reawaken it. So yes, we must reawaken it. And yes, that takes some effort. If you want to achieve what other people don't achieve, you have to be ready to do what other people wouldn't do. So you have to make an effort. You have to be determined. You have to make a sacrifice. But let me ask you a question. Have you not already done that in your life for other things? If you brought up children, you made big sacrifices. If you made money in this world and rose to a career position, you had great determination. If you passed university and you got good grades, that means you can achieve amazing things. But now, can you put that same effort that you used for material life, can you put the same effort for Krishna? If you do, you'll get amazing results. But for material life, we work so hard. For material life, we're willing to make so many sacrifices. For material life, we'll put anything on the line. But when it comes to spiritual life, we don't take it as seriously. So therefore, we all have to become serious. Otherwise, it's not a cheap thing. But you can do it, because you already did it. But now do it for Krishna.
The only thing missing, Maharaj, is I'm not in the 4 o'clock club yet.
Yes. Therefore, you need to get a few alarms, get a few people calling you at that time, and get all the help you need. Because yes, if you don't spend time with Krishna, quality time with Krishna every day, how we will develop our love for Krishna? If we just do a few Hare Krishnas, a few Hare Ramas on the train, if we do a few Hare Krishnas and Hare Ramas while we're answering our emails or cooking the evening meal, if we just do a few Hare Krishnas and Hare Ramas while we're driving up the motorway, it's not going to do it. Then you say to Krishna, I really want to be with you, I really want to be with you. And then when we speak to Krishna, we ignore him. That doesn't sound very promising. So it's not rocket science. We just have to chant attentively, not commit offenses to devotees, just be a nice person. Don't be envious, don't be proud, don't try to just advertise yourself, just be a servant and just chant attentively. Finish. Job done. Easier said than done. Do we have a mic for you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Maharaj.
My obeisances. I had a question which was personal, and I think when I've spoken with other people, they also felt the same way. And it's there's something special about being special.
like we all try and be exclusive and different in our own ways. Or like you notice in life or like college, they're all striving to be different, but in essence we're all the same, which is just like Jiva Tattva and part and parcel of Krishna. And even like some of our happinesses now, they're to do with having things other people don't have. Like that's our speciality. It's because only we have it. I sort of related that to false ego in my mind, but maybe that's why like we're separate from Krishna, because our individual identity is that strong. But how do you work with this? Because even we have like a special relationship with Krishna. We're still different in that way, but we're all like Jiva Tattvas, and so are same in the same way. So I was kind of struggling to distinguish those two.
Wow, nice question. Krishna says every soul is amazing. Every soul is special. When Krishna was in Dwarika, he had 16,108 wives. They all thought that Krishna was only with them. Krishna was revealing himself specially to each one of his devotees. So you are special. You have your own relationship with Krishna. That's amazing. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but he has a special relationship with you. So you are special as a spirit soul. But the problem is, we don't try to realize our speciality as spirit souls. Instead, what we try to do is develop an artificial spiritual speciality as a material body. That's a problem. So we should ask ourselves, what are the special things that Krishna has given me that I can use in his service? And in that way you can be special in a spiritual way for Krishna's pleasure. And that kind of being special in a spiritual way for Krishna's pleasure will make your life beautiful. So you are special. Everyone is special. Krishna wants to have a relationship with you. What can be a bigger confirmation that you're special than that? But find your speciality in a spiritual way, not just some artificial speciality on the material level. Because everything special you do on the material level, it just fades away. Is that alright?
Yeah. And also, would it be like, as we're part and parcel of Krishna, we also feel like this natural proprietorship, or like you feel like you're in charge because you're kind of mini him in terms of quality. How would you overcome that to see him as he is?
Krishna's essential nature and our essential nature is to serve. Krishna's also his essential nature is also to serve. Therefore Krishna is serving his devotees. So the essential nature of Krishna is not proprietorship. The essential nature of Krishna is to serve. Even when Krishna is the proprietor, even when Krishna is in a position, the main thing is he's using that to serve. Because to serve means to express love. So Krishna is always trying to serve. So you be like that, you always try to serve. Serve the devotees, serve Srila Prabhupada, serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, and serve Krishna. Fill your life with devotional service. My spiritual master, he said, I don't know how much love I have for Krishna, but I love to do devotional service. That's very nice. We may come in front of Krishna and say, Krishna, love, such a dry heart, such a hard heart. What love do I have? But maybe you can love devotional service. And as you fill your life with service, it's amazing.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. I hope everyone's okay. Are we going on too long, or is everyone comfortable? I mean, I see more hands. For me, no problem, as long as everyone's okay.
I think we've got another 15 minutes.
Is that alright? Everyone's good?
Yeah. How many of you have got questions? 1, 2. Okay. 3. There are 3 questions. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. You're going to ask one?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I wanted to ask it's a very simple question actually, but how do you deal with the fear of getting left behind? Like currently I'm at university, and as soon as you enter, you could be on the top in school and college, but as soon as you enter university, it's like a different rat race, and then you realize that once you enter the working world, it's just going to be like this. And there'll be like colleagues who are getting placements, internships, and you're probably in the same place. And like I've seen this with like my friends, my colleagues, so, and it's very easy to get caught up in that fear and like degrade yourself in your mind. So how can you deal with the fear of that?
You are not defined by your percentage in an exam. You're not defined by your position in a ranking. You're not defined by your possessions, your power, your position. These are all just numbers. Einstein, he said, everything that can be counted doesn't necessarily count. And sometimes the things that you can't count for more. The world tells us it's all about a position, a percentage. No. Krishna says, try your best. Do your best. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Just do your best. And then after that, whatever happens, know that that's all Krishna's plan. Even when sometimes it feels like you're failing, if you can go to bed at night and say, I did the best I could, know for sure a bigger success is around the corner. Even Srila Prabhupada went through situations where everything seemed to be failing. But Srila Prabhupada said, what can I do? I just have to keep trying my best. And that's what Prabhupada did. And when the time was right, Krishna gave him results beyond his wildest imagination. So just do the best you can. You have to go to bed at night saying, I did the best I could. And if you did the best you could, know for sure that Krishna will give you the best result. And know that it's not an external achievement that defines the value of your life. Who told you that? Why do we believe that? Because that's what the world says. But that's not what Krishna says. For Krishna, that doesn't mean anything. In one flick of a wrist, Krishna can give you everything if he wants to. And Krishna can also take it all away. So for Krishna, it's nothing, anything. So just try your best. That's a beautiful life. Don't obsess about the result. Just focus on the process. Make sense?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. So, we obviously know that it's important to prioritize our relationship with Krishna and invest time in developing that. And it's lovely when we can have this kind of association with other devotees and talk about Krishna, but outside of association in sort of material life, there's lots of negative energy, even at work, and our minds can be quite hard to control. So even when we have in our hearts that we want to prioritize Krishna, sometimes our minds stray. So how can we sort of develop resilience in our spiritual journeys when the material world is trying to throw everything else at us, and even sometimes extended family members, like you yourself mentioned, have lots of opinions. So how can we develop that resilience to our spiritual journeys?
Thank you. I want you to think differently about the world. I want you not to just see problems out there. Some people see problems in every opportunity. Other people see opportunities in every problem. I want you to look around at your environment, your work, your career, your study, your family, and start looking at what are the unique opportunities that are here available that can make me more Krishna conscious. We need to stop fearing everything that could go wrong, and we need to start getting excited about what could go right. Sometimes we have this narrative in our mind like, oh my God, I got to make sure I don't fall down, I got to make sure something bad doesn't happen, I got to make sure I don't get into Maya, and we're constantly thinking about what's going to go wrong. But maybe, yes, there's not devotees at work, but maybe there are all these innocent people who are looking for Krishna, who I can be an instrument to ignite something within them. That's amazing. Maybe my family isn't so positive about Krishna consciousness, but maybe that's good. Maybe I need to have that challenge. You know, sometimes people ask me, who convinced you to become a monk? And I'm like, my mom and dad. I was like, your mom and dad want you to be a monk? I was like, no, they really didn't. They were dead against it. And when my parents were so against me becoming a monk, and it was such a big fight, you know what ended up happening? It made me think so deeply, why do I want to do this? They really don't want me to do it. Why am I doing this? And their opposition made me think so deeply about what I was doing that when I entered the monastery, I had thought deeply about this. This is why I'm doing it. And therefore I was able to stay as a monk. So I was like, so nowadays I go to my mom and dad, I'm like, thank you, it was all your opposition that made me dedicate my life. Like, start seeing opportunities in every problem. Be a positive thinker. Don't think about what's going to go wrong and how the material energy, you know. Sometimes devotees get into this Kali Yuga Katha. Oh, Prabhu, it's getting bad out there. Do you know how bad it is? I mean, it's really happening now. Kali Yuga. Oh my God, you can't imagine, you know. No, this is not Kali Yuga. Is it Kali Yuga? Is it Kali Yuga?
Yes.
Yes, is it Kali Yuga? No. This is not Kali Yuga. We are in Chaitanya Yuga. So do you want to see it as Kali Yuga? Oh, Prabhu, it's Kali Yuga, it's impossible, we can't do it. No, this is Chaitanya Yuga. Gauranga has come. He's made it so easy. Mercy is flying everywhere. The holy name is with you at every stage. What are you worrying about? You've got it made. The demigods are queuing up to take birth in the material world. And we're like, oh, it's Kali Yuga, it's difficult, you know, I don't know, it's Kali Yuga. Oh my God, no, the demigods are queuing up. It's all a matter of vision. So let us become positive. Let us see the opportunities, you know. Once there was a donkey, and the donkey fell into a hole. And you know, the donkey was like, whatever donkeys do, making a noise to try and get some attention. No one was listening. So the donkey thought, oh my God, I'm doomed. I'm in this, you know. And then the donkey saw that someone was throwing dirt into the hole, and the donkey thought, oh my God, it can't get any worse. Now I'm in this thing, I'm going to get buried alive. And then the donkey realized, oh no, but all this dirt, instead of burying me alive, when the dirt comes, I move it to one side, and then I step on this. And then when more dirt comes, I step it to this side, and then I step on that, then I can get out. And just by the change of vision, what almost seemed like the most depressing situation became the most liberating situation. So nowadays, that's how we should try to approach life. We have to see, how can I find Krishna here? What unique opportunity is present? And it is. So be positive. You can do it.
One last.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
My question is something related to the soul. So we understand soul is eternal and the body is mere carrier. Should we be really scared about this truth, or should we be excited about it?
Scared about the fact that the body is
mere carrier and soul is eternal, which means we are going to live eternally, right? So should we be really scared about it, or should we be excited about the fact?
I think it's a good thing that the material body is just a machine, that the material body is temporary, that the material body comes and goes, but that we exist for a life, eternity. That's a very, very beautiful thing. But it becomes very, very scary when we're attached to this identity, when we're attached to all the things, the relationships of this world, when we're attached to our abilities, our positions, our facilities. Then the thought that this material body is temporary, then it becomes very, very... You see, as Hare Krishnas, we talk about death just like, yeah, you're going to die, and this person's going to die. We just talk about death like, you know, for us it's just like, you know. But for most people, they don't talk about death. They don't talk about death. Like imagine if you're going to watch a movie, and on the way to the movie you see one of your friends, and you say, I'm going to watch this movie. He says, oh, that movie! You'll never guess what happens at the end. Say, come on, man. You tell me the end, how can I enjoy the movie? So for most people, the idea that the body is going to die, this is like the ultimate, like dampener. It's like the ultimate worst reality. Because once you realize you're going to die and you're going to lose everything, you kind of begin to think like, what's the point of it all? So therefore, for most people, the idea of death is shocking. But death is going to come. Once we were on the way to a funeral, so we parked in the crematorium. So the car stopped in the crematorium, and just as we parked up, in front of us there was a sea of graves. And so we were all looking at the graves. And then the devotee, he turned the ignition off, and the sat-nav said, you have reached your final destination. You're like, oh my God, this is like crazy, man. This is like spooky, you know. So it was quite funny, you know. Like, we don't like to think about death. But the devotees, they talk about death all the time. Like, yeah, I'm gonna die, and you know, everyone's gonna die, and you know. If you speak out there, people are like, you guys are crazy, you know. Because we know this. We know death is not full stop. Death is just a comma. So, no problem. You're eternal. What a beautiful thing. You're gonna live forever. Hopefully not in Nottingham, but maybe you can do service here eternally for the rest of your life. That's nice. Wherever. So that's the beautiful thing. Krishna consciousness is leading us to the life where we live happily ever after. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.